Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our first edition of Big Brother 22 All-Stars live feed spoilers for the day. We're going to talk a good bit about last night's episode. We have a few different things from the feeds to go over as well.
Yep.
This is going to be a little bit of a different video than most, though, for a number of reasons.
It is Matt's birthday.
First of all, I've seen a lot of messages here on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, like all that sort of stuff. They're all so nice, and it's another reminder of why, you know, the friends out there who watch our videos, like, you guys are the best, like, really. And I'm not just saying that in some, like, you know, cliched way, because it's, you know, there's so much kindness, there's so much fun. I love this community. I'm so grateful for it. So thank you to everyone who has sent along nice words. It really does mean a lot to me. This has been a very fun past couple of days.
And one of you guys, One Word Beauty, suggested that we do an unboxing of all of Matt's gifts. We're not going to do exactly that. He's already opened a whole bunch of his gifts. We have a bunch of pictures up over on our Instagram, so go follow us over there. And you can see some of the loot he has. However, there is one thing that we are going to unbox, and we will leave a timestamp below for the people who are here only for Big Brother, and you don't want to sit through watching him open up the gift. This is the only gift he doesn't know what it is. He asked for everything that he got. Waffle maker, a bunch of other cool stuff, but I have one surprise.
This is going to be my power of veto competition, trying to open up this present on camera without either breaking anything or making a complete fool out of myself. The power of present competition is here. I'm ready for it, I think.
All right, ready? Okay.
Okay, all right.
Here we go.
Here we go. Okay.
Happy birthday from all of us to you.
See, this is the real task here. It's like, can I open this while trying to make it look? See, everyone, it's styrofoam. Be very shocked. Be very impressed.
Welcome.
Yes, styrofoam is actually what I've always wanted for holidays. I just think that there's nothing better than like the squeaky noise of styrofoam. It's so lovely. Okay, there is something more in here. So this is the next phase of the challenge. How to open up the tape.
I'll help you.
Okay, this is where the knife comes into play, because me trying to look at the camera and also use a knife, we would be teetering on disaster here. So Jess is carefully opening this, hence whatever sort of squeaky noise you hear. Okay, here we go. Here we go. It is a mug. It is a mug. What is on the mug? It is various Final Fantasy VII characters. Ah! Okay, first of all, this is awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
For those of you who don't know, I love Final Fantasy VII. I may love Final Fantasy VII too much, but I don't think that's actually a thing. I had been waiting for, I don't know how long it is, but over 20 years of my life to play the remake. It came out earlier this year. I am so grateful. I have a cactuar, a tomeberry, all sorts of other nonsense in the other room.
And it was interesting because, like, I wanted to get him a surprise, and then, like, a month ago, he started looking at mugs, and I had already bought this for him, so it was sitting in the other room in the closet, and he's like, man, I really think I might want a Mass Effect mug, and how about this one? And thank goodness the shipping was, like, as much as the mug, and he was like, forget it. I'm like, yeah, let's forget it.
See, the power of BioWare Store having terrible shipping ended up benefiting us all greatly.
It did.
We got an OG Final Fantasy. It's even got like all the OG characters on it here. Not even just the people who are in the remake, but
Happy birthday.
thank you. I'm so grateful. I've had a really great day. We have the Bachelorette later, so we're gonna be ending today with chaos and probably me just like losing my mind over some like dude bro who's gonna do something that really irritates me.
Yeah, we had his celebration over the weekend because we have the 2-hour Bachelorette premiere tonight, and we are going to be covering that here all season long of the channel. So if you are watching that, we are also watching that, so come back and talk to us tonight.
Yeah,
but now, let's get into some Big Brother.
Okay.
Big Brother!
Oh boy, okay, so this episode that aired last night, we'll talk a little bit about it before the feeds. This is the number one thing that's driving me crazy about this at the moment. Just because I'm in a good mood and it's my birthday and all that, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to tell you off, Big Brother, for some nonsense here.
Here we go!
Okay. I deliberately tried to avoid talking about Enzo's foot stalker a few days ago because I was like, nobody wants to hear about this. Nobody wants to see a segment talking about Enzo's feet. And what does Big Brother do? They give you like a 3-minute package about Enzo's feet, and yet they don't show Nicole being upset about the contents of Victor's letter and making it seem like all happy and hunky-dory. It's like, you guys are gonna go so far out of your way to, I guess, like, protect the sanctity of Nicole by not showing her being upset, and yet you are going to show like 8 minutes of Enzo's feet and or bathroom humor. Enzo apparently, according to the editors, is just like a caveman who does nothing else.
Why doesn't anybody knock on the bathroom door? I know I heard Cody being like, why don't you call out when somebody's calling out? Guys, everybody, just this. Knock, knock, knock. It is so easy. You don't need to just go in there. There's all these other people in the house. I do not understand why nobody just knocks.
I have no idea what is wrong with some of these people. I don't know what's wrong with Big Brother either. It's just like, I feel like if this was maybe if it was a different season, if it wasn't All Stars, I don't know. It's just, the Nicole thing bothers me a little bit just because it's like, that would be like a legitimately bizarre and kind of interesting thing for someone to see, is someone like getting really in their head about the contents of their letter. And it's not like I want Nicole to be unhappy or anything like that. Like, I wish nothing but the world for Nicole and Victor. I wish them happiness. And it's just that there's so little content in the house, and it's just such an inaccurate sort of picture of how Nicole was feeling about being HOH that, you know, they present that everything is just great with the letter.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the most interesting parts of this game. I mean, strategy, of course, is the most interesting part of this game, but it's also what the house does to people. I mean, this is a really hard game. I've said this a bunch of times, but it's true. This is a very, very hard game, and it really gets into your head, and the paranoia when all you have to focus on is what is going on in the house. It's almost like a bit of like what happens on Bachelor or Bachelorette, where the only thing you're allowed to focus on is whoever is the Bachelor or Bachelorette, and you have nothing else, nothing on the outside world, except it's like 3 times as long. Like, you're locked in this house, and everything gets into your head, especially at this time. So having some of that play out on the show would have been pretty interesting for the people who are not watching the live feeds to sort of see that this is a hard game and that you are going to read into everything, including things that aren't there. I mean, Victor may have decided not to put in good for you, you're playing an awesome game, because maybe he didn't want to blow up her game. Because if he's in there being like, oh man, you're so awesome at this game, then she might have even had a different reaction, be like, oh man, everyone's gonna think I'm playing this awesome game, and I've been trying to be like, oh, I'm so bad at this game, I suck at this game, that then Victor's blowing up her game.
It's also true. And, you know, Victor's a Big Brother player. So Victor, I don't know when the timing is on writing these letters or whatever, but he's sort of like a Big Brother player from afar, and he has to sort of strategize and like, do I say that I'm proud of her? Do I say this? Do I say that? Like, he still, you know, expressed his love and appreciation to her. Like, you know, outside of the game, like, that should be the thing that matters the most. But I don't know. I wish they'd included more of that. And we already had the bathroom humor within. It's like, this is not new.
Yeah, like, again, knock on the door. We don't need the bathroom humor. I really would have liked to have seen some of these other things. It would have been more interesting than, I don't care about Enzo's feet or someone who's been stalking him for 10 years. You put up with that for 10 years or whatever he said on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Man, listen, if somebody was coming to me about my feet, they'd be getting a blocking. That's absolutely what would happen. There is no way that I'm dealing with that.
It is.
Enzo, you have some patience.
Enzo is a very patient man. We have to, except when it comes apparently to Christmas, where he's trying to like leave the room anytime she's around. But, you know, speaking of Christmas, the other big takeaway I got from this show was just how close Christmas was to winning this HOH. And, you know, by no means am I a Christmas fan. I'll say that right out of the gate. But, you know, I'm not going to be hard on her for crying or breaking down about it when she was just there and just like one pumpkin falls out, because it's like, I remember in Beauty and the Geek, I was in the final 3, and I was in this spot where I was having to answer questions about the relationship between me and my partner, and like, it was down to tiebreakers between us and another team, and one of us who got it right, we would move on to the final two and be almost at the grand prize. And we kept getting like so close to having the right answer because we were supposed to guess what the other person said, but we kept getting like beat on like these disqualifications, and they didn't even show all of it on the screen. But it's like knowing that you're so close to getting to the end of this game and coming up short because we ended up being eliminated there. It was hard to get over some of that because I legitimately felt like if we were in the final two, we would have won. So I do sympathize with where Christmas is coming from, being so close to getting that HOH, to securing your spot in the final four.
Yeah.
It's it is tough, but still not rooting for Christmas, so I'll be fine if she goes.
Especially because she also just voted to try to get Nicole out and miss the shot. So she knew how important it was for Nicole to be the person who didn't win this. Like, even if Christmas didn't win either and it was Memphis, because it seems like he wasn't, I mean, he was a little bit behind, but he wasn't so far behind that, like, you know, Nicole, of course she's going to end up putting Christmas on the block.
And, you know, as we transition into the live feeds, guess what? That's still what's happening. It is still Christmas versus Memphis. Nicole didn't use the veto. And as of this recording, it's, as far as we can tell, I mean, the feeds have been down an insane amount over the past 24 hours.
Right? Not anything different than the whole season, right?
Listen, I hope this isn't going to be a trend moving forward. Like, if it's a situation where they're on a limited crew because of the pandemic or something like that, or they're protecting All-Stars, whatever else, I will take it. I will deal with it. I'm grateful there's a season this year, but, you know, if things are better next summer, there is going to be a storm like no other on this channel if we have like 3 or 4 hour blocks at night where we don't have feeds. Because that's what we had last night.
Yeah, no, there was a long outage.
And there still feels like it keeps cutting in and out today. Like, Memphis is still going as of this recording, but, you know, there's still maybe interesting conversations that we're missing. That's not like these people that remain are the most interesting people in the world, but they could be giving us something.
Yeah, and it was also actually interesting on the show that conversation with Christmas and Nicole. Of course, they didn't show all of it. It sounds like it went on a very long time, where they both kind of realize that they need each other to go to the end with because they each sort of have a chance at maybe beating each other. But Christmas made it clear that Cody was at the top of sort of the pecking order for her. And afterwards, when Nicole went and told Cody about this, I was just like, why are you doing this? Like, I get the idea of like, oh, I need to bring Cody in closer, but you actually don't. You don't need to bring him in any closer. You guys already have a great relationship. There's like 2 weeks left. He's not gonna turn on you right now. Christmas surely isn't going to go tell him, by the way, like, I'm going to come get you. And I told Nicole that I'm doing it. Like, that's never going to come up in conversation. And I get why Cody was just like, oh, well, then Christmas got to go. Because, like, she's going to come after him. Memphis isn't coming after him.
Yeah, like, if Christmas was a slightly better competition player consistently, or at least in Cody's mind, I think Christmas would be going this week, and I think that conversation would probably be a big part of it. I think for Cody right now, it just comes down to he feels more confident he can beat Christmas moving forward than he does Memphis, and that seems to be sort of the long and the short of it right now.
Yeah, Memphis has been winning a lot of stuff, and I think that it is time for Memphis to go. If they don't get rid of Memphis, like, it's not great. Cody is going to beat everybody, but Memphis has a chance.
Memphis definitely has more of a chance, and it's a good transition into Enzo here, because it does make a little bit more sense for Enzo to try to keep Memphis, because he's got something a little bit more with Memphis than necessarily Christmas, and he also knows that there's a chance that Memphis could go after Nicole and get rid of that problem, because this is something that's very fascinating to me with Enzo, both from the show and the feeds, is that he's realizing more and more what a threat Nicole potentially could be here. Like, he's thinking a lot that juries are about what have you done lately. Nicole has won an HOH and a veto recently. She will be responsible seemingly for getting rid of Memphis. Like, Enzo recognizes that these are big things that could help her at the end.
They are, but at the same time, I mean, I've mentioned this before, and so I won't harp too much on it, but I really think she's going to have a hard time convincing any jury of Big Brother players that anyone should have a 2-time win. I think it puts everybody who is in the Big Brother universe in a position where they can never really have that title or beat that title, because then you've got all the winners out there would have to win 2 more times to beat Nicole's record of this. And some people may never get a chance to play 3, 4, 5, 6 more times, right? So I feel that the jury is going to be keeping that in mind. And that's why I always thought that the only way that Nicole or Ian were gonna have a chance is if they either played like such a near perfect game that they'd be like, oh man, we can't not give it to Nicole. But Nicole was just protected for a lot of the season where she didn't have to do anything. Now we're at the last 2 weeks and she's won. You know, that's great, but that's not enough to be a 2-time winner. I think for the jury, for them to be like, oh man, there's no way we can't give it to her. I think that they can make an argument to never have a 2-time winner. But that's just kind of my conspiracy theory, that my tinfoil hat. I don't think they want a 2-time winner.
I think it's going to be, if it's Enzo and Nicole at the end, I think that's probably one of the more fascinating showdowns, because I think there are people who are definitely going to think sort of like you're thinking. You know, are there people who are going to be like, you know, I like Nicole better, she's played a better game, maybe, but if you're Enzo, you have a golden opportunity now to just ensure that people don't think that way, that they lean more into what you're saying, because if you're Enzo at this point, what you really need to do is, if you win at Final 4, Final 3, win your way to the end, that'll be a huge feather in your cap. If you're responsible for getting rid of Cody at some point, like if Enzo gets rid of Cody before the Final 2 and he's responsible, if he goes to the Final 2 with Nicole, he smokes her. Like, there's no way he doesn't get the win if he takes out Cody.
Yeah, and I also think he just has a very strong argument that maybe the jury isn't taking into consideration, which is that he's made it here not being part of this alliance at all, that he is at the end and the alliance all just took each other out, and he was able to get here with winning a few things, working with people outside of the alliance, and he still made it, where Nicole was insulated by an alliance. So for me, if I was on jury, I'd be like, wow, that's actually a lot more impressive, because we watched this alliance take out all of us sitting in this jury house, except Enzo, who somehow made it through not being part of this alliance and is still here. He must have played a really good game behind the scenes that I wasn't paying attention to.
Here's one of the things that if I'm sort of reading Enzo's mind here, I've got like the meow meow crystal ball out, and I'm seeing in here, yo, I know what I'm gonna do, yo. I'm gonna win this Final 4 HOH, yo.
He needs to win it.
I think Enzo, we from what we've seen, he doesn't like to directly get a lot of blood on his hands. So I think, you know, it's actually better resume-wise if he wins the Final 4 veto and he like directly takes out a Nicole or somebody else. But I think he's probably going to try really hard to win the Final 4 HOH. And then all he's got to do is worry about one more HOH competition. And if he wins that, he's got a decent shot unless he's against Cody. But this is the scenario I am really interested if this happens. What if Enzo wins the Final 4 HOH? What if Nicole then wins the veto? Does Nicole get rid of Cody there, or does she get rid of Christmas? Like, that to me is going to be fascinating if that happens.
It is, because the one person that I feel is going to cut Cody is Nicole. She is going to get rid of him. I feel it.
And that is the path for Enzo, I think, here, is that you have Nicole get rid of Cody there, and then you just beat Nicole. Or if you get to the Final 3 with Nicole and Christmas, guess what? If Nicole takes out Cody, Christmas has got to realize, I don't know if I want to sit next to Nicole anymore.
Yeah, no, if Nicole ends up taking out Cody, nobody needs to bring her to the end. I think that everyone knows that Cody is playing the best game, and whoever takes out Cody will probably get the win, and that includes Nicole.
Yeah, so
she has to cut Cody to win.
What we're ultimately trying to say here is that despite these past 24 hours not being great on the feeds, there are some interesting scenarios to sort of go through. The only other thing going on in the feeds right now, Memphis is really weird today. Like, he's just like in the backyard being just like, I'm gonna kind of mess things up today. And he's just like talking to Christmas. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you a hard time. It's like, what is wrong with you, Memphis?
I don't know. It feels like sandbox flirting where
I
it's like,
don't-
I'm gonna pull your hair today because I like you. That's my Memphis.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Oh, I'm gonna push you over because I think you're cool. Like, it's very, very weird.
Memphis talked about drinking the whole pot of coffee, or maybe Memphis was just, I'm over caffeinated, hear me roar. Like,
I don't know, man.
I don't know, but we'll be back later. We'll see if the more interesting stuff happens. But once again, thank you everybody for all your birthday wishes and love. It's very much appreciated. But what do you think is going to happen over these next few days in Big Brother? What did you think about yesterday's episode? Share in the comments, give us a like, subscribe, support us further, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.